Shalom, everybody, and welcome to our second session of our course of Kabbalah Level 1. And before we start, we're just going to go through a short summary, reminding us our last session. And in our last session, we spoke about the lineage, the evolution of Kabbalistic wisdom. And we said that Abraham, the patriarch, was not just an old man that had conversations with God. He was a great, wise person, and he was considered to be the first Kabbalist in history, the first one who really got the system, which means the first one who realized how the universe is structured. Now, he was also the first great astronomer and astrologer in his earlier life, in his birthplace in Shumer, south of Iraq of today. He left us the Book of Formation, which is basically a cosmology book that you have all the rules of how the universe is structured and built, more like a computer program, but as it's written as a riddle. He is the father of monotheism, and we said that Abraham's monotheism, although most of humanity is influenced by Abraham's monotheism, most of humanity did not get yet, not yet, what does it really mean to be a monotheist. And being monotheist means that you really believe that the source of the creation is endless good. And there's nothing but that goodness. And therefore, this is the force that created everything. This is the force that moves everything. And therefore, every creature, every human being, animal, or any other part of the creation, that is a part of that endless creator, that infinite creator. Therefore, we need to respect every part of creation. And if there is evil, the evil is only part of the creation. It's only a temporary, we'll speak about it later. So what does it mean that when we speak about a society that is speaking about equality, about giving people their free will, that they have their own individual control, is because they were created in the image of God and they have the right for happiness. This is all coming from understanding true monotheism, as we're going to explain today in more details. So a lot of people don't still get it. They still think that darkness is a force of its own. And if you believe that darkness is forced by its own, so you're not monotheism, you believe in duality, a creator of goodness and creator of darkness, and they fight against each other. That's not monotheism. Okay, we spoke about how that changed the whole world. And we spoke about the proof that when Abram passes on, it says in Genesis 25:8, Abram gave up his spirit and he died in a good old age, an old man and satiated. Which means, how many people die satiated? You die satiated, you don't really die. It's because you just did it. You just did it. Which means he really knew what he was talking about. The next stage is about 500 years later with Moses, that he received both the written Torah and the oral Torah, including Kabbalah on Mount Sinai. And I explained last week, what does it mean, the written Torah and the oral Torah? And I said that the law that came on Mount Sinai had 4 layers. Like every wisdom in this universe must have 4 layers. The uppermost layer, it's not the upper, it's like the layer that everybody can see, is called pshat, simple. That's whatever we can hear, see, hear about, touch. That's the 5 senses experience. That's very it doesn't give you the whole picture. It's just the word is superficial. That's the pshat. Okay? That's a written Torah. Most of it, it's just stories. And you think the way it is, that's the way it's written. That's the way it is. However, you can never trust the pshat the same way when you meet a person. It takes a lifetime to know really the person, especially if that person is going to be a very significant person in your life. Somebody is a partner, could be your spouse, could be a partner in business, could be a worker, an employer. You need to get to know them, and just a few seconds of knowing them, seeing them, whatever, doesn't give you the whole picture. So you're looking for the hints, you're looking for making a real understanding, the map of all the information, the research about that person. But you will never really get it unless you delve deep enough to the secret. And we said Pardes is 4 layers of understanding of reality. That includes into both all levels of the Torah. So there is the written book. Then you have the all kinds of legends that speak about the deep meaning behind what your brain does not see as a code. And then the research, and finally, Kabbalah is the last layer, the deepest of them all, the secret that tells you what really happens. It's that language that reveals the code, what's behind the pictures, the game, the stories, the movies you went through, what's running them, what makes them be, what gives them the power, and what's the purpose. That is what Kabbalah is about. So we said from Mount Sinai, we are jumping right now to the 2nd century CE. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the main body of the Zohar, okay? And he reveals that in the Upper Galilee, in Israel of the 2nd century. But the Zohar was written and concealed for over a millennia. Around 1270, Rabbi Moshe de Leon, basically the truth is that he had the manuscript, but his wife published it, which is a whole story by itself. Why? The time has come. Okay. But till that time, there was no even talking about it because the time has not come. There was a decree not to reveal that. The first time the Zohar was printed, which meant everybody can read that was in 1558 in Mantua, Italy. And around the same time in Safed, Tzfat, Northern Galilee, again in Israel, appears Rabbi Isaac Luria that founded the school of thought that is called the Lurianic Kabbalah. His name was Luria, so it's a Lurianic Kabbalah. All major schools of thought of spirituality in Judaism today, either the European Jews, the Sephardic Jews, all school of thoughts that are legitimate and being the mainstream of Jewish study, all of them follow the Lurianic Kabbalah. Very small fringe groups use other schools of thoughts that existed before the Lurianic Kabbalah appeared. Okay. But then in the beginning of the 20th century, it became like a dead language. Very few people really learned it. Very few people really got it. Then comes Rabbi Ashlag, an amazing luminary. He decides to teach Kabbalah and to make a revolution in the study of Kabbalah. He moves from Poland to Israel in 1921. At that time, it was British Mandate Israel, British Mandate Palestine, and he establishes a school in Jerusalem, and he prints till he passed away in 1954, 2 major works. One of them is a translation and commentary of the whole Zohar. It's a masterpiece of, I think, 7,000 pages. And at the same time, another masterpiece, not that big, but very big also, which is the commentary on the writings of Rabbi Isaac Luria. And he wrote both commentaries overlapping each other, which means you can see it's the same thought, the same school, the same program. So his commentary on the Zohar is Zohar HaSulam, and his commentary over the Rabbi Isaac Luria's teachings is called Talmud Eser Sfirot, the study of the 10 illuminations. Okay, his teachings are covering a lot of stuff that right now modern science is revealing more and more stuff that Rabbi Ashlag wrote about in the previous century. And he wrote it not on his own, that was a commentary, just made it clear to more ancient writings, especially the Zohar and even the Torah itself. So that was a repetition, the summary. And let's go into, so what is Kabbalah? Was it truthfully, what is really Kabbalah? Why should we study Kabbalah, and how can it help us having a good, better life? This is the question. That's from now on, this is the focal point of our course. And let's see, what does that mean? One very important thing. Every human being along history will really put thought in the question of what's going on and why, okay? And a lot of people do that, not everybody. And not everybody has the guts and the time to really delve into it. But one thing a lot of people realize, that the universe is a very highly organized place, which means whatever we can call science, it's all about finding the rules of how nature functions, how this universe works, okay? And what's really important about it is we realize that every system in the universe has very specific rules. You have rules of physics, and you have many areas in physics. You have astronomy, you have all the rules that move astronomy, and the rules of matter, the rules of ecology. There's so much. The rules. You can really understand almost everything. Why did I say almost? Because today, after this huge journey of modern science discovering the rules of the universe, we're still not really clear about what are the rules for happiness. Because you can find more and more people are unhappy. Even something very, it's funny and terrible at the same time. The UN is publishing every year the list of the happiness index, which means which countries are the happiest on earth. And you have always the same countries coming up on the first 10, 15. So you have the Scandinavian countries, you have New Zealand, you have Australia, you have Israel. That's one. So these countries are very happy. People there, according to the definition of the UN, they are the happiest people on earth. But then I found another research. The research was dealing with the consumption of antidepressants. And it also, so it listed by countries. And who do you think was there on the top list? Scandinavia, Switzerland, New Zealand. Those countries are the happiest. They're also on the top of the consumption of antidepressants. Isn't anyone selling us lies and nonsense? Which means if you already figured it out, which means you have an open, democratic, safe state, with rights like nobody else on earth. You're supposed to be happy. So why you are on the top list of consumers of antidepressants? Something is fishy over here. This is very, very not right if you read the two lists. So why is it that people that think it looks like they figured it out and they basically didn't? You know, I can say it since I was a kid. I was looking at the, you know, people interviewed on TV, and I had this like thing in my like realizing there's so many people that everybody reveres them as the smartest, wisest people on earth. They have so much knowledge. They are professors of philosophy and wisdom, and they know so much. And most of them are very not nice people, which means if you know so much, you're supposed to be happier. Isn't that the way it should be? Isn't that like the boy screaming, "The king is naked"? Whoever knows the story. We know that the rules exist. No one has to invent them. You just have to reveal through research the rules that already exist. More than that, we also know the Kabbalists think that the rules of the universe are encoded in the Torah. So why is it important for us to know the rules? It's very simple. Just give you an example. Very simple example. You want to go for vacation. So you look around and you found this amazing vacation, a dream. It's a vacation resort on an island somewhere far away. You have to, it's a long time, it's a long flight, but so you do everything online like everybody's doing. You order the rooms in the hotel, you order a car, you order the tickets, you fly, you land, you take the car from the agency and the airport, you get out from the airport into the highway, and you are in shock. The way people drive, you can't figure it out. It's nothing like the rules in the countries you know. You know, in some places they drive on the right side, in some places they drive on the left side, but this is totally nothing that you can ever figure out. And you are on the road, you just go down the highway and you can't figure out what's going on over here. You don't know the rules. So what do? You first of all, you pull out to like a corner because you don't want to be run over and to be killed. What do you feel? So you feel confused, but more than that, you're afraid. More than that, maybe you're also very angry. Why is it nobody told me? Now, why is it that nobody warned me? Why is it that it's not like, why can't I deal with it? And how would I get to my hotel? Same thing happens to us when we realize that we grow up and we can't figure it out. You know, when we were kids, we were told if you be a good student and you study properly, and then you have great marks, and then you can go to a higher education in a better school, maybe high school and then university, and then you'll be wise and you'll figure it out and you get what you need to get and you'll be happy. And you know, today, even as kids, you look at your parents and say, they are not happy. They went to school and it doesn't look like they figured it out. They look confused most of the time. And it doesn't look like my father learned philosophy. My mother is psychologist. My aunt or my grandparents, they are scientists. No one is really happy. Nobody. So as a teenager, you think it won't happen to me. I know everything. But as you grow up, you realize you don't know everything. And you are full of anxiety because you don't know, like, you know, finding yourself on the highway, you don't know the rules. You don't know what to expect from whom. And if you think you know, when you're in your teens, then maybe in your early 20s or maybe the late 20s, you start to realize life is not that simple as I thought it is. I'm doing the best I can. And why is it I'm not happy most of the time? So this course is going to uncover 8 most important rules that when we practice these rules properly, we will feel much better about ourselves and about life. I'm challenging you that by the end of the course, I'm going to ask you if you really think that it worked, okay? According to my, I'm doing it for the last almost 40 years, and I had a rate about 90% that admit that it really improved their lives. So let's see. You can choose what kind to be. The most important thing, as I said in the previous class, don't believe me. Try to understand the rules, try to apply them, try to exercise them, and then we'll see the results. Okay, so first of all, we know that how do we discover the rules? We know that everybody knows, whoever deals with business or anything in life today, in order to be successful, you need, number one thing is to know what's your goal. That's number one. The second thing, after you know what's your goal, you have to know where is your goal. Why? Because if you don't know where it is, what are your chances to find it? Slim to none. Then after you know where your goal is, have to know what is the way to achieve the goal. How do you get there? Okay, I know where it is. How do I get there? And the fourth thing, what are the tools we need to use in order to arrive to our goal? The 8 rules we're going to learn starting today are going to cover these 4 questions. First, what is our goal? Second, where is it? Because again, if you're looking where it's not, you can't find it. And then what is the way to achieve the goal, and what are the tools we can use in order to achieve that goal? Because you can't really achieve something really precious without knowing these rules. So let us start. The first thing, when you reach your goal, you feel that you're successful. Now, so let's say I did not reach the goal yet. And I look around because I want to look for role models. How do I know that somebody is really truthfully successful? We know that our society, which is very materialistic, defines success as material possessions. But whoever has a little kind of understanding realizes that the fact that somebody is very rich, it doesn't mean that he's successful. How do I know? He's not happy. He's not happy. Who are you to judge if somebody is happy or not? Oh, that is a very simple idea. Okay? That's a very simple idea. It's a very simple idea. It looks like it's supposed to be common sense, but it's not common at all. And that idea, there's a Kabbalistic secret that says you can give only what you have. Let us go deep into that. Think about those moments in life in which you really got it. You really feel excited about life. You really feel happy. You feel successful. You feel that it's like you're lucky and fortunate. I think most human beings have moments like this once in a while. How do we feel towards other people when we have a moment like this? So, when we feel happy and successful, we are very generous and kind and tolerant towards other people. I hope you notice that. Okay? And when we feel really frightened, upset, angry, depleted, how do we feel towards other people? It's almost impossible for us not to project our pain that we experience on other people, especially over people that are really important for us, and our happiness and success is dependent on them. When we really are being taken over by anguish and pain, we can't, it's almost impossible not to share with them the pain that we feel, which means, I hope you get what I'm saying. When we are really flooded with happiness, we cannot not be nice, caring, and loving towards other people. Why? That's what we feel, and it's almost impossible to help it but share it away. When we are full with anguish and pain, misery, it's almost impossible not to project that around us. So, according to that, we have a very simple litmus paper. We look around and we ask ourselves, how many people are really successful? Which means, how many people we know that most of their lives, most of the day, most of their hours, they're loving, kind, helpful, and positive. Okay? How many people like this do we know? I'm asking each one of you. I want you in the chat, send me a number. Just think about it, take your time. How many people do I know that are really successful? What does it mean they're really successful? They are most of the time tolerant, loving, kind, positive, and loving. Why? That's what you feel when you're really successful. Okay, so each one of you, think about how many people. You know what? Let's make it. Oh, I see people starting to. Okay, how many people like this do you know personally? Okay, somebody knows one. Maybe one. Somebody had 5. Wow, that's a good score. Okay. 2, 0. Anyone else? Okay, so let's say we realize that, yeah, by the way, this is usually the answer around the world people give. It's very hard in our society to find really happy people. The people mostly fake it. They try to present their success with money, with power. They're not really. So you understand that we live in a very miserable society. It's not just, it's in Europe, it's in America, it's in Israel, it's all over the world. You have too many people who are really not successful. Oh, yes, by some definitions, how much money, the yearly income, they maybe are successful, but they don't behave like successful people. On the other hand, now we can understand why most people are mean to their surroundings, because they're not really happy. They're not really happy. So why is it that we go through so much lack of success? And the fact is, as we said before, when you don't know the rules, you can't be successful, because first of all, let's define the goal. That will be rule number 1. Okay? Let's define the rules. And we'll start with rule number 1. Okay. First of all, what is the goal? What is the goal, okay, of every human being? You will see it's very similar. The Kabbalists say that it is all about the desire. You know, Descartes, the great thinker, French thinker, said, I think, therefore I exist. The Kabbalists ask, why do I think? If you think, why do you think? When is that we think? When we need something. When we don't need anything, when we're totally full and satiated, we almost don't have any need to think. We float. When we think, it's because we're missing something. Therefore, the true thing is not I think, therefore I exist. I desire, therefore I exist. Because I desire, I think. The more intense the desire is, the more intense the thinking is. The more shallow the desire is, the less intense the thinking is. People with very intense desires, they think more and they reach more. So it's all about desires. You can see it on the person. You know, people just walk by, slouch, and they're slow and they don't really know a goal and they don't really have a real ambition for achieving something. And people that have a very strong drive, what's a drive? Desires. When you know what you want, you know how to get it, and you just go for it, that, the whole posture of a person is different. The way they talk, the way they express themselves, the way they walk, every bit and inch in their body projects this is a person with ambition, with desire. Okay? We were created as creatures of desire. We need to desire. That's how we define ourselves. But the question is, because, people with huge desires, they do huge things, good or evil, but they do huge things. People with small, tiny desires, they do small things. They affect less. They have less impact on other people's lives and history. The question is, when we know our goal, we know what is that we desire, and we after that, are we really sure that it's the right thing? Because as we said, if you don't know what your goal is, what are your chances to get it? So when we say, I want, I desire, I have passion for something, what is it I want? What is it I really desire? So first we have to go to the definition of the Kabbalists about a soul. What is a soul? The soul is the deep source of desires. When somebody dies, they say the soul leaves that person. Now that person wants nothing. He doesn't want it to be warm. He doesn't want to be cold. He doesn't want to be rich or poor, whatever. He doesn't need anything. The moment the soul leaves, the soul is the deep source of desires, the deep source of urges and wants. This is the main engine of who we are. But then we're still having the same issue. What is the goal? What is that we desire? Okay? So my question is right now to everybody, think about it and try to write on the chat, what is that people? We need something that is universal enough so it fits every human being. What is it people really, truly desire? And I'm focusing on really, truly, because a lot of people have a big problem because they can't see the difference between a mean and a goal. Okay? Example. A lot of people say that money is a goal. But when I ask people, why do you want money? So people say, when I have money, I can buy things. And what do you need that things for? Oh, so that thing you need for that, and that thing you need for that, that thing you need for that, and whatever, which means the money is a mean. Your goal is not money. Having piles of money is not a goal. Now, what you think you can buy with that money is a goal. Okay? Now the question is, so how do you know what is a real worthwhile goal, a real authentic goal, is when it brings you to a place in which if I have that, that's enough. It's not a mean to get something. Okay? If this is clear, I want you now to answer. You can also answer by talking about it. Say, what do you think is the goal? What is that people really want? What is people really desire? You can say, you can open your mic and say.
To be happy.
Okay, being happy is amazing because when you're happy, that's it. It's not a mean for anything. Feel good. I see love. People desire happiness. Somebody wrote a longer to be in awe of the Creator and to understand the Creator in the source of our fulfillment to receive. Okay, you're trying to stick Kabbalah. I'm saying like in a very simple comment. Okay, fulfillment. Okay, even the person who says to be in awe of the Creator and to understand the Creator. What for? You can ask what for.
I want to find God to, frankly, end my suffering.
So
there's
you
a
want, so you don't want to suffer. So say, so what you say, God is a mean, but you really want to end the suffering. So try to use a positive word, end of suffering, using negative. I'm asking, what's a goal? Negative is never a goal. I don't want to be, that's not a goal. A goal is what you do want to be or to feel. Is that clear? Okay, so we have some more answers. Certainty, purpose. Okay. By the way, the purpose, a lot of people say purpose. I want to be clear about it. What do you need purpose for? The ones who said purpose. What do you need purpose for? You see, if you can ask what you need it for, it's not the ultimate goal. It's a mean. Okay, so somebody said, I want purpose for getting out of bed every day. Why do you want to get out of bed every day? It's not a goal yet. Okay. To serve him. Okay, to serve God. What for? If you can ask what for, again, meaning, what do you need meaning for? What meaning a purpose makes you feel? The ones who said purpose, the one who said meaning. But if you say your purpose in life is to serve God, how do you know that your definition of serving God is right? Is the right thing? We are here really trying to get the exact thing. This is the real thing in life. Okay, so it is an innate knowing, but what that innate knowing is giving you. You understand what I'm saying? So let me stop that discussion right now. let's see what people say all across the world. People speak about well-being, pleasure. You didn't say pleasure. Happiness, joy, you said, peace, security, love, fulfillment. Okay, let me explain what I'm just saying. Is when we experience those emotions, let me take it again from another place. When a human being lives a life and does not experience well-being, pleasure, happiness, joy, peace, security, love, or fulfillment. A human being, when a human being just experience pain, suffering, anguish, confusion, and stuff like this, okay? What happens to his body or her body? They deteriorate, which means we realize just from looking, without science, looking at people, looking at ourselves, we are not designed to suffer. Suffering is not a goal. Being miserable is not a goal. We're not planned, we're not designed to carry those destructive emotions. Okay? We have no goal to be miserable, to be upset, and to be in pain. That's not a goal. But when we feel well-being and pleasure, happiness, joy, our body responds immediately. Our immune system is getting a boost. All the systems in our body are being much, much more productive and efficient when we feel great about ourselves, when we feel good. Okay? This is right now a scientific fact. You cannot argue that fact. People right now, I love to talk about it because if you go to Mayo Clinic site, Mayo Clinic is one of the most famous health center in the world. They have a site, and on that site, I love to go once in a while. They have a place on that site about the power of positive thinking, and they show over there how many diseases it is proven that thinking positive basically improves the symptoms of that disease. Amazing. Which means we're not supposed to be upset and miserable. Okay? Yeah, you can't tell to somebody that is miserable, say you're not supposed to. But we're not there yet. We hear about realizing that even our physical body are designed to experience these emotions. Okay, that's what I'm saying. But there's something, and also when people speak about purpose and meaning gives you fulfillment. Or it makes you feel good, which is not written over here, but it's all about that. So when all of these emotions like love and pleasure and happiness and so on, they make us feel fulfilled. How do we know it's fulfilled? Because when we are emotionally fulfilled with these emotions, with these feelings of good, we eat less, we shop less, we are nicer to other people, we are healthier. Okay? So now the question is like this: when I am fulfilled, again, when I'm fulfilled, it's a presence. Just go deep into your own emotions. It's a presence. It really affects directly how you think, how you react to things, how you analyze issues around you, how do you function and your well-being, and how much you shop or you eat. Correct? This is a major dominant thing in our lives, which means when we are fulfilled, we're so different than when we are empty and when we feel this vacuum, painful inner darkness. Okay? We do things totally differently. Correct? So that thing that fulfills us is very dominant in our behavior, health, every aspect of our existence. But when we are fulfilled, then we love, then we are happy, then we have joy, then we feel pleasure, then we feel security and peace of mind and well-being. It's basically well-being, pleasure. All of these words are different names for the same fulfilled feeling. Remember about Abraham, that he left this world satiated, fulfilled. He got it. Okay? He got it. He said, oh, guys, I got everything I wanted. Time to go. So when we want to be fulfilled, it's a substance. I hope you understand it's a substance that we can all agree. Every human being can agree. How do I know I have it? I eat less. I have less need to buy or I have less need for any kind of devices. And when I am empty and it's not there, I'm looking around all the time. How do I fulfill my painful vacuum inside? Okay? So the question is like this: when we are fulfilled and we feel that presence, what is that fulfills us? Okay? And let us go a little bit deeper into it. When we have that happiness and fulfillment, think about it, but we have less tendency to be addicted to anything. And we are less procrastination. We have the energy to make decisions, to move on, to do stuff, to create stuff, to deal with problems and so on. Everybody agrees that it's energy, nothing to do with calories. It's a mental energy. Okay? When we are fulfilled, this is a mental energy. This is not a physical energy. You cannot get it from certain vitamins. It's something that is achieved through behavior patterns. Okay? And again, when I'm fulfilled, the whole world looks different than when I'm not fulfilled. What is that substance that is the most dominant substance in my life? When it's there, everything is great. When it's not there, everything messed up, and I don't feel not a meaning, not purpose, no happiness. I'm not nice to others. I'm not really smart in making decisions. Don't try me when I don't have it. So as we said, this is a mental energy, because I have the energy to do things. I have the energy to begin stuff. I have the energy also to stop and cut off stuff that I could not get rid of for who knows how long. If that is clear. That mental energy is called in most languages, light. It's a mental energy, and it's called light because somebody who has that energy and he projects it, people say, that person brings me light. That person is enlightened. And which means we call that precious energy light. We know it's not a physical light, but it's still called light because that light can shine also at night. You know, somebody can come to somebody's home and visit when it's, 2 o'clock in the morning, it's very dark, and he comes with a lot of positive energy. You brought me light. What is this light? Because it's not a visible light. You can't just measure that light with, scientific measurements. This is the light that is mentioned in Genesis. And God said, let there be light. It's a 25th word in the Hebrew Torah. And God said, let there be light. If you just remember chapter 1 in Genesis, the light that we call light in the physical reality is the light that is projected from the sun and the stars. Okay? That the sun and the stars in the story of the creation were created only on the fourth day. So what light was there on the first day? This is the light we're talking about. That's energy, positive energy that is coming directly from the Creator. And that is not a physical light for the eyes. But we know when you are surrounded with a lot of physical light, it's much easier to be happy than when you're surrounded with darkness. So the physical light had something to do as a branch with the spiritual light. But the spiritual light is what every human being wants. We want, when we experience a fulfillment with that light, we don't need meaning, we don't need money, we don't need health. Oh, we can approach through it, but it's not an addiction. We're okay. So, rule number one is that everything that we desire is the light, with a big T and a big L. It's that energy that sustains everything, it sustains us. And when we don't have that, we start to wilt. When a person gives up on wanting the light or achieving the light, that despair is called aging. And the great Kabbalist said that aging is a criminal offense which is death sentenced. How do we do that? Where do we get the light from? Which means we said, remember, first thing is what is the goal? What is that we want to achieve? Second thing, where does it exist? Because if you're looking for it where you don't, when it doesn't exist, what are your chances to find it? That reminds me the story. I heard it the first time from my chemistry professor in the university. And he said, it's just the beginning of first year in studying life sciences in the university. And he said, scientists don't really know everything. You should just be careful. It's what you can tell about them is that it's like that drunk person you see in the middle of the night, in the middle of the village, under the only street light in the village. And he's looking around. And it takes you a few seconds to look around. There's nothing there. It's just pavement. So you ask that drunk person, what are you looking for? He says, hello, I'm looking for my wallet. Can you just tell me where did you lose your wallet? He says, oh, over there. So why are you looking over here? Because here there's light. Here I can see. That's said about scientists. They can look only where they can see. Today, you have extensions. You have machines that extend the vision of the scientist. Does that mean they see everything? That whatever scientists are saying is the whole truth, nothing but the truth? We know that science has great achievements every year. Somebody said on certain areas of physics that every year we double every 2 years, we double what we know about that field in physics. That means that we know today half of what we're going to know in 2 years from now. We know 1/4 of what we're going to know in 4 years from now. We know 1/8 of what we're going to know in 6 years from now. So if we know right now only 1/16 of what we're going to know in 8 years from now, how much do we really know? Not too much. So when we are talking about our upbringing, usually most people today that are being brought up, just trust your eyes or the machines. They will tell you what the truth is. Do we learn how to look for the light in elementary school, high school, university? How many people are being trained by the parents to look for the light? And if we're not trained, now we can figure out why is it that we know so few happy, fulfilled people. In our society, we really got lost. We are being trained to look for visible stuff. And the spirit, the light we're looking for is not visible. So we're looking for things. We're being trained, educated, or more brainwashed or conditioned. That since we're little babies, we're being conditioned that what brings you happiness? Things you can buy, things you can eat, buy and eat. And this is not what makes us happy. This is not what gives us fulfillment. Our soul needs light. Now, where is that light? How do we get it? What are the tools? We're going to talk about it in the next classes. Anyone has questions? So remember, rule number 1.
I have a question.
The desire is the light. Okay, so we'll conclude over here the recording and we'll.
Can you hear me?
Yes.